Uh, Now, something I've noticed about you is your songs are really highly arranged, and they're but yet when you sing, you sort of put everything into it and sort of lose yourself. Is there ever a problem with that?
Well, let me explain. The number one thing I think is my strength as a songwriter is architecture. The structure of the songs. I mean, that's just something I have this kind of X-ray vision or something. That just is the first thing that I see whenever I hear anyone else's music or whatever. It's just I see, well, gee, why do they have that many lines there in that verse? They should have just gone to the next bit or lost that bridge section and just gone somewhere else. I always have this, as soon as I hear it, I just know what I think about it. Very, very, very strong feelings. Whether that's right or wrong, it's how I, relate. And when I'm writing my own songs, I have the same thing. The way because people always ask, how do you write a song? And there's no easy way of explaining. I mean, everyone has a different way of working, but I kind of liken it to being like an artist, doing doodles on a sketch pad or whatever, and he does a line and he erases a bit of it and adds another bit, and might purify it a bit more, or he suggests, whatever it is, he's kind of like just playing and with elements and juxtaposing different ones until he gets something that he finds pleasing or interesting. Well, it's the same with notes, and I tend to be like strumming around. I mean, for a start, there's always music, or a beat going on in my head all the time, in the background. Just whether I choose to, tap into it and try writing a song is really a matter of luck or application. But if I'm writing at home, usually in the kitchen, not on the road, I'll be just doodling on the guitar, and just because I'm a very simple guitarist, I only do simple things. So, and put ordinary open chords in different inversions or whatever. And one that's very fruitful is a D chord. A lot of songs are written in D. Like for example. Here Comes the Sun. Sorry, I fucked it up. But, that's a very D sort of song, that was written that way, And a lot of mine are like that as well. I've written a lot of songs with D, and there's one in particular that was based around that D, going up the scale a bit, and it's just like, and I thought, I want a bit of a drone, and then it's like, that's a little D chord going there. But so when I did it, so then, well, I like a drone song, kind of psychedelic, And that sort of just sounds interesting. I like going, well, they're quite simple chords, but up there they sound kind of interesting. And I go, well, what goes with that? Da 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 da. Got to do something more. So I go da 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 da. So you get the melody starts to build on itself, and that's how the song starts. And then maybe for example, another one which we probably will play at some point tonight is a D chord song, which is I was doing the same thing, picking, suspended, pinball wizard, but this one's like I would actually do the other thing, like the ninth or the sort of I like that sort of effect. So that's a good little note. I like that in that chord. So again, how about if I do the same note in another chord? Works, and then I'll just keep going on that idea. So that became. And when I'm hearing those notes later on, it sounds like someone's like going in my head, going, what's my? I sort of hear those words. What's my C? It just sounds like that to me musically. It just seems to suggest those lyrics or those syllables.
So usually music and concept first.
Yeah, people are often shocked to hear that because they think you must have had something you wanted to write about before you wrote the song. But we're always writing music, and we always have things we're thinking about that bug us or that intrigue us, and we want to express. And sometimes a bit of music actually sort of tickles that idea out of you. That's what happened in What's My Scene. That I wasn't quite sure what What's My Scene meant until I started working on the lyrics some more and going, what am I thinking about? What does this mean to Faulkner? And obviously a lot of my songs have these sort of questioning my identity and who the hell I am and what am I doing here sort of songs, and that's one of them.
Okay.
But if you want to get the basic ratio of songwriters who start with music versus ones who start with words, it's about 60-40. So, you know, not too far off even, but majority actually start with music. And, you know, in my case, I just find it easier to say I hear words in the music, and the idea of making more notes to fit into a complicated lyric, I just find incredible to sort of imagine trying to do that. It just makes no sense, you know. The melody has its own inherent poetry, you know, logic, and it can't just be like made shorter or longer. Whereas lyrics, you can always re-express the same sentiment in many different ways and different meters. So it's a lot easier for me to do it that way.
It's like the melody and the parts are pretty much set in your mind when you're working on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're sequential is the way I develop them. You know, what's my scene that started with that? And then I go, you know, what goes from there? And you sort of get to the thing, well, I need to write a verse, and I kind of think, you know, I don't know, it just happens, and then you go, well, I can't just do that all the time, there's got to be some other bit, and you sort of end up writing a bridge. And, you know, if you look at my tapes, they're actually like that, they're kind of like archaeological digs, but they're just kind of like, you know, and sometimes you take a wrong turn, and you sort of go, well, that melody was actually kind of crappy and shouldn't be there, you should sort of go back a step and go a different way. And, you know, you're kind of following your nose and your instinct, and it's an exploration, really, like a maze, but you kind of have this inner sort of, you know, compass that seems to guide you into a proper, you know, form. And in my case, as I say, it's my sort of sense of structure that always makes me go, well, there's something missing here. That's a bit too much this direction. I need something that kind of adds contrast to that. So I write a bit that contrasts to it.
So do you know what all the other members of the band should be playing, or do they bring their own thing?
Most of the time, the parts are things that are inherent in what I've done. You know, there was a song that I talked about, I think, in the email, where I was trying to write the song for about a year or two. I had this rhythm I wanted to use. It's actually a rhythm I borrowed because it was used a lot in the late 60s in the sort of those, like, I think it might have been Jimmy